Right now in crypto might be our last chance to prepare before we see small crypto projects that fit the current narrative making 10, 50, even 100x gains. And creating a clear game plan to execute while ignoring all of the noise is critical for getting in on the ground floor of these opportunities to be able to be in the position to make those life-changing gains. And from my previous experience in bull runs calling early 10 to 100x coins, I'm going to show you my analysis on the market and why right now could be our last opportunity to prepare, the altcoins that I'm looking to invest in, along with technical analysis to identify potential dip buy levels, new high potential projects that aren't even launched yet so that we can plan before the mainstream comes in, because this strategy that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout this video will allow you to time trends and be able to make smart entry and exit points in cryptocurrency. And this is going to be huge. And at the end, I'm going to share with you guys some potential money-making crypto alpha. So if that sounds good, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notification so that you know when I post videos. Check us out on Instagram, Discord, and TikTok. We have an amazing trading community. All right, so before we get into the newer opportunities, we need to understand what could happen with the market so that we can better position ourselves to make those ultimate gains. And I'm going to explain exactly why I'm saying this in just a second. So if we look over at the Bitcoin chart, ever since we've seen this initial spike up here, we broke over our all-time high value. Now we're sitting at this 361.8 level, and we topped out right where we were expecting Bitcoin to potentially have a temporary sell-off here at 74,000. Okay, you can go ahead and cross-check this analysis in previous videos and even on my Instagram when we were blasting into these levels. But right now we're getting a little bit of a sell-off. Largely the reason for this, and this is something that I want everyone to understand, on the traditional finance side, over the past about 6 months, the expectation is that the US Federal Reserve would start cutting interest rates 5 separate times, which is why stocks continue to move higher. This is something that also catalyzed the move in cryptocurrency. Since then, now we're expecting 3, maybe even only 2 interest rate decreases in the year of 2024. All right, and this is also at the same time that the S&P 500 has moved up by 26% over the past about 200 days, essentially in a straight line. So even though the expectations that drove this move up have been sliced down basically by 65-70%, we're still crushing at all-time highs. Okay, and the reason that this is important is because when we see a slight decrease in interest rates, it means that companies will start cutting their spending and stocks will end up slowing down. If the rates get cut dramatically, like what we saw in COVID, down at 0 or hovering around 0, this will usually lead to a sharp increase in spending, maybe an increase of the total money supply in the US, which those two things coming together can drive Bitcoin forward. So into the halving cycle, not only historically have we seen a bit of a sell-off, but now if things do cool down in the stock market side, we could end up seeing a pullback down in Bitcoin, which is going to allow us to prepare in time, potentially for the last time, to position ourselves in some of these altcoins that we're going to talk about in just a second. Okay, so if we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is our 5 wave, you can see we have this 50 level here and this 61.8 level here, which I basically find by going over to a Fibonacci retracement right here, clicking at the beginning of the trend, going up to the top, and then clicking again. That's going to give me potential retracement levels for Bitcoin. And something to keep note, when you have a very strong trend, this 50 level is oftentimes the level that we're going to see a low at. So what we've been saying for the longest time now is we want to have some money on the sideline being prepared for things like this, but that's also why we were getting involved in Bitcoin as we started to see the price breakout here. If we do get the sell-off, I'm going to show you potential dip buy levels. And if we don't get the sell-off, there's still going to be a massive opportunity in the total market cap in the altcoin space. You can see this is the total market capitalization, taking Bitcoin and Ethereum out of the situation. We could see trillions and trillions of dollars flow into the altcoin space, which getting in on the ground floor of things is going to be where the life-changing opportunity is. All right, so considering all of this, let's talk about our overall trade thesis, and then let's talk about some of the projects, projections, and analysis on coins that have extremely high potential into this bull run. So if you watched the previous portfolio video, you remember I broke down these different styles, but the overall strategy that we're going to be using, or that I'm going to be using in the bull market, is essentially using Bitcoin as the macro perspective on the overall phases so that we can then time our entries into these smaller projects, and more importantly, time our exit on these smaller projects so that we can collect profit on the way play out. Okay, so Bitcoin is essentially going to be our North Star for all of this. All right, and if you understand Bitcoin and you understand the relative size of markets, we only need Bitcoin to reach about 25% the total market cap of gold, which sits currently at 14.5 trillion, in order for us to see $175,000 Bitcoin, which would get us up to our 261.8 projection, which is the same analysis that we've done in all of these previous runs. So if we can roughly time Bitcoin and be smart about Bitcoin, our altcoin holdings are going to essentially be like the macro moves of Bitcoin, but on steroids. Okay, you can see from the beginning of the 2020 move to the all-time high, we had about a 13x price in Bitcoin. And during that same period of time, we had about 13x the amount of money move into the altcoin space. Okay, so the same thing is going to be true if we do see that Bitcoin move. A lot of people think that this is unrealistic. In short, it may not happen, but being positioned in case it does and being diversified into main coins like Bitcoin is the way that you can start generating crazy returns in crypto. All right, and as we're looking at overall wave structure in Bitcoin, one of the key metrics that I want to keep drilling into your guys' heads is looking at something called the market value realized value ratio. Okay, this is for the long-term holders of Bitcoin, so holders that have been holding their tokens for over 155 days. Now, this is going to show us the relationship between the market value of their positions and the realized value if they were to sell. And we could see every time we've had these Bitcoin all-time highs, the MVRV over 20, MVRV over 20, MVRV over 20. Now, we are downtrending. Last time we had our all-time high in Bitcoin, we had the MVRV topping out around 10. Now, if we do get more institutional buy pressure and we do get a super cycle this time, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin back up near that 10 zone here. So anytime we're approaching that 10 zone and we're looking at the overall market cap being about $3.5 trillion in Bitcoin, this is where the tide is going to go out, and people holding these way overvalued altcoins that are essentially substanceless are going to lose 90% of their funds. So that's where we're going to try to get in early, be able to use the on-chain metrics to be able to time our exit on these coins, and then be able to re-inject it when our MV/RV ratio breaks back down into this green zone here and trades around 0.75, which historically has almost perfectly timed the exact bottom of each cycle. This is a metric that 99.9% of people are not going to be looking at. Of course, the crypto people are. Even when I talk to the analysts at Glassnodes, they sort of laugh because the on-chain metrics make it so much easier to remove a lot of the noise that you hear outside. So when I see news headlines, okay, unless it's for day trading where I want to enter and exit the market on the same, 2-3 hour period in order to make short-term profits, I don't really care what the news is saying about the bias until these on-chain metrics happen, because it's sort of just it's a little bit of a cheat code. So paired with other things can be a very powerful tool. Okay, but regardless of what happens in traditional finance, we still have the halving period coming up in about 30 days from today. And we're still going to have the mining production of Bitcoin dropping from about 900 Bitcoin per day to about 450 Bitcoin per day. And you can see, regardless of any of the news that's coming out, we still have Grayscale with 383,000 Bitcoin on their books. Okay, BlackRock, which is one of the largest traditional finance institutions in the world, has 230 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So now we have a tremendous amount of the supply of Bitcoin in these large institutional hands, which is now taking about 10% of the total supply of Bitcoin, even though the illiquid supply of Bitcoin is still sitting around 70%. Okay, so even if we do get a sell-off, we do have confirmation that big players are in the game. Okay, this data right here, along with the actual holdings of each individual fund, is something that I like to look at to see where institutional money is moving. Okay, this platform is called Arcam. There's so many different dashboards and metrics that you can look at. Okay, you can also check all of your detailed transactions here in one place. And if you want access to this dashboard, I'm going to put the link in the description of the video. I'm going to put this in the resources section of the Discord, so you guys don't have to Google this each time, and you can use this for all of your wallet tracking and looking at the smart money institutional metrics. All right, so let's do some entry and growth potential analysis on these current projects that are listed so that we can be ready for dip buy opportunities. Then we're going to go over the new, smaller, high potential altcoins. Okay, so if we look at the current price chart of Tau, we can see we have potential for really clean wave counts. We have our 1 to 2. This looks like a 3, and then we have a potential pullback to 4 with a move up to 5. This is referencing something called Elliott wave theory. Okay, I have a ton of videos going over Elliott wave theory, but basically what we can do is predict trends with a 5-wave pattern. And just like what we saw with the push in Bitcoin, just like what we saw with the all-time high previously of Bitcoin, okay, if we use a Fibonacci retracement off of our wave 1 here, okay, depending on how these wave structures look, we could be looking for prices to hit 261.8, then make what's called a ABC correction, which is typically going to retrace anywhere from this 50 to this 61.8 range, which would bring us back to that sub $500 on Tau. Okay, I have tons of videos going over the details of why I like Tau. I'm only going to be doing analysis on projects that I've covered several times, and then the new projects that I'm about to show you, I'm going to cover in detail and explain a little bit more. Okay, so if we do see Bitcoin sell off, there's a chance that we could get this to develop. There's a chance we could be able to get Tau under $500. All right, and say this does catch traction with the new AI narrative, we get some centralized exchange listings. Okay, we could still potentially move anywhere from 10 to 20x, which is very, very aggressive if we do hit something like Cardano's all-time highs. Keep in mind, the entire crypto market is going to expand market cap wise. So these previously high valuations in a global market could look a lot different. Even if we're at a market cap similar to Cardano's right now, that's another 5x in the price of Tau. All right, so from here, this is about a 4.8x, but if we're able to time Tau on a dip buy, which is why I'm talking about how this is so important for you guys. Okay, if we are able to get Tau a little bit lower, we can almost double our expected return and bring it up to the 7 or 8x returns. But that's why the projects that we're going to be talking about, where we're starting somewhere like around here, when we first called this out on YouTube, okay, you can see if we start down here, okay, we're looking at a nearly 50x in price. All right, another project that I really like that is already essentially at all-time highs done a 10x is TIA or Celestia. Okay, you can see we're sitting at about a $2.3 billion market cap. All right, and you can see we did our wave analysis on TIA already. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, top of the trend, perfectly hitting that 361.8. Now, if we get our A, B, C, okay, another way that I'm finding the bottom of C that works quite nicely is using this trend-based fib extension, starting at this B level here, clicking to our A, and then going back up. And we could expect to see dip buys potentially at 161.8 or 261.8 values. And you can see in the top buy zone here at 161.8, okay, that I shared with you on the Discord, we just recently hit that price. If the market continues to sell off, then we should for sure be able to get these lower prices. But this may be the last time that we do see a pullback in this coin before we do get a move to the upside. And if this is our projected one here, our 261.8 would bring the token to $50 per token from 10, which would be a 5x. And if we hit that 361.8 from 10, that's going to give us a 7x. And these are just off of the projections. Okay, we could well exceed these values as well. This does have the potential for those nice 10x returns. Now, Render is really, really interesting because this is one of those tokens that launched at an extremely low market cap. We can see $12.8 million, and now we're working our way up to about $4.2 billion as of now. All right, and you can see once again, we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got our 5 wave up right into this 461.8 projection zone. Okay, so if we are to see a move down something like this, there's a chance that we could hit off of this 50 level, which would be previous resistance to turn support, as well as on top of the 261.8, as well as on top of the 50 level. This is going to be the start of my buy zone for Render token, where I might allocate some of my portfolio into Render to get some exposure into this market. But I'm certainly not buying at the top of parabolas. And if it takes off without me, there's going to be so many other plays. But I wanted to do analysis on that for you guys because I know a lot of people are interested in Render. Okay, in Near, which launched at about 131 million, is now sitting at about 7 billion. I see this being able to hit that 50 to 100 billion dollar mark if we do see this project succeed significantly, which from here could be a 5 to 7x. But if we time an entry on Near once again, that could amplify our profits to substantially higher than that if we do see Near explode. All right, and you can see Near did have a pretty significant run up in the previous market cycle. And in my opinion, a lot of these AI and cloud compute cryptos that are already running could be grossly overvalued. And my thinking is, at least if I'm going to expose myself to this potential AI bubble, at least be in things that haven't run yet that have way more upside before they actually do get overvalued. But you can see right here on Near, if we use our projection, our 50 zone would bring us right to this previous resistance, could potentially turn support. We also have this first initial push here at support, which could give us a nice dip buy entry around $5 if you are interested in longing Near. It's definitely moved in the past and could definitely be a sleeping giant, but I think that there's a lot of other valuable projects. And sort of my aim with this is I'm bringing a lot of these coins to the table so that you can use your own discretion and invest in things that you want to invest in. But in this bull market, I'm going to be keeping it very selective, considering that I'm in my preserve state with my portfolio. All right, I'm already managing around $1.5 million in crypto. So I do want to have sort of my flagship investments balanced as some lower risk investments that even when the dust dust settles, should be able to follow through into the next cycles. All right, then we have Monad, IONET, and GMRX. We just covered these in previous videos. Okay, Monad is going to be a new layer 1 project, now launching a little bit higher than we thought before, which is going to drop the potential upside on Monad, but still makes it an extremely valuable project. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to be sharing with you a way that you may be able to potentially get exposure to Monad, but still Monad starting off as a layer 1, even from a say $1.5 to $3 billion valuation, can easily go parabolic and sort of start taking over the new era of the top 20 cryptocurrencies. But just like anything else, the old players will eventually start cycling out and introducing runs for these newer plays. So paying attention to these new layer 1s is definitely more of a safe option, but still exposing yourself to a significant amount of upside, so long as you know, once again, you have Bitcoin as your guiding star to be able to close out these positions. Okay, IONET is probably one of the most exciting plays for me moving into this bull market, okay, because it is already powered by Filecoin, Render, and Solana, which are some of the front runners in this space right now. But if you can see, all of these CPU, GPU companies, okay, including Render token, IONET's capacity to handle this absolutely blows away all of these other still massive players, even Render sitting at a $4.5 billion market cap. So leading into the bull market, there is a possibility that we enter that sort of $20 to $50 billion range, which depending on the actual initial market cap could give us extraordinary gains to the upside. And it's a real company with real things backing it and real integrations. So I'm going to be watching very closely with IONET. And we have really exciting news. GMRX, or Gameplan, which is a project we've been following for about 2 years now, announced that their launch is going to be on the 26th, which by the time you're seeing this should have already happened. So we'll be able to see what the final market cap at listing was. But Gameplan is essentially mixing together all of what Render token is doing, IONET is doing, but they're doing it on a massive scale through a decentralized ecosystem where the gamers are able to connect to the platform, volunteer their extra compute power, which is done for rendering jobs and other purposes by Gameplan, and are rewarded in the GMRX tokens. As the users are rewarded, it's automatically purchased off the open market, which could lead to crazy upside in the token. So even if this does dip on launch on centralized exchanges, if and when we do see the next leg up in crypto, I see Gameplan absolutely running to fit both the AI and the gaming narrative simultaneously, with crazy good tokenomics, as well as the fact that they're building a layer 2 blockchain for BNB chain. But you can see off of this launch price, we did go up at least on Bybit spot to about 40 cents, and now we faded down to the 61.8, which is a really good dip buy area. Okay, you can see CoinMarketCap also has them in their incubator. Okay, this is an extremely cool project with a significant amount of upside in my opinion. All right, so here are some of the new unreleased cryptocurrencies that I'm watching that I think have crazy high potential. All right, the first project is called Blockless. So what Blockless does is it allows for applications to be built without relying or being built on one network. This is going to become a very popular trend in cryptocurrency as we move into the future, because being stuck on one chain isn't going to fly, because companies want to be able to move around. Okay, you can see some of their goals is to cut 90% of the development time, and this application is going to be also powered by a decentralized network where your compute can be allocated for various things that Blockless needs. Okay, this is probably going to launch at a slightly smaller valuation that, if it is properly discovered, could go on one of those runs and be adopted similarly to what we saw with Chainlink. When Chainlink first came out, it wasn't much of anything until companies started realizing that they could use this, then the valuation continued to absolutely skyrocket from there. I see with the narrative, this being able to hit anywhere from $500 to $2 billion market cap, which depending on the listing valuation could give us a nice 25 to 50x return on our investment. Okay, keep in mind with all of these things that I'm saying, like I said very transparently, okay, a lot of these projects will not work out. Okay, you can't have every single winner, which is why you need to get in early, why you need to do your diligence and diversify so that we can play these opportunities to the upside. I don't want people saying that I guaranteed that Blockless is going to 50x. What I'm trying to show to you is why I think that there's growth potential so that we can be conservative, be smart, and take advantage of the bull market. So just keep these things in mind. All right, the next project that I want to talk about is Saga. So Saga is essentially a layer 1 that integrates Blockless-like features that makes it easier for game builders to integrate blockchain functionalities into their games. Okay, based on their Twitter post, we could expect this project to launch at about a $2 billion market cap, so a little bit higher. Fitting the gaming narrative, could potentially hit a $10 billion valuation or potentially even higher. So in my opinion, I'm not super convicted on the necessarily growth of this token, but what is more exciting, because this is starting at a big valuation and maybe slightly niche to become a large cryptocurrency, if we're able to stake our Saga tokens in our Kepler wallet, which historically for people who have been airdrop farming, okay, they can get randomly dished pretty significant chunks of money just for staking tokens. So if we can assume, say, a 3 to 5x during the bull market, it's a cool play to just just have a small allocation to be able to receive those airdrops. Okay, this is something, once again, that 99.9% of people, unless they're in crypto, aren't going to know, which could possibly equate to free money. So do with that what you will. Okay, the next project that I want to talk about is Pyth. And the reason that Pyth is so exciting for me is because Solana fitting the gaming narrative and being a solid layer 1 that actually performs a function has been absolutely ripping. Solana meme tokens have sort of been on fire, and Solana has actually flipped over BNB, being the 4th largest cryptocurrency by market cap. If we look at something like Chainlink, this is an Oracle service that provides real-time data on chain for Ethereum. This is up 10,000% from where it started. Okay, now we have a project that is an Oracle service that is going to integrate and essentially possibly perform the same major function on Solana. We launched here right around a $500 million market cap. So if we are to see some sort of similar adoption to what we saw with Chainlink on ETH, with Pyth on other faster chains, okay, we could see this current $1.3 billion market cap head closer to the 10, 20, possibly even higher market cap, which could put us in that 25 to 50x potential range. All right, the next project that I'm extremely excited about is a project called Fontigo, which is a gaming platform that hosts a series of games where there's significant prize pools, okay, things in crypto like 40K pudgy penguins as rewards. And Fontigo is in the small percentage of blockchain games featured on major game stores. Okay, they have games on Steam, which is the gaming platform that PC users can play. Okay, like I said, this token isn't even out yet, so I'm going to continue to follow up with it, but I'm also going to be sharing the stuff that I'm watching with you guys in the Discord and doing updates on there. So if you want to follow along with the progress, make sure you head over into the Discord if you want to start trading crypto, following our investments, following the cool projects that are up and coming. Okay, they do have some significant press features out right now. Okay, this is going to be an AVAX token, which right now AVAX is one of those chains that could continue to see a ton of momentum into this market. All right, and once again, where the reward comes from is also where the risk comes from. So if this project is expected to launch in Q2 at, say, anywhere from $50 to $100 million market cap, okay, a lot of these projects like Oasis, like Ultra, like Illuvium, okay, like Gala Games, $26.2 billion, could make it so that this project could be a massive runner. But once again, the altcoin game is all about diversifying risk. All right, I'm going to be updating you guys here in the Discord on the micro cap ideas and as we're approaching some of these launch dates. But I wanted you guys to be able to prepare and have some information before 99.9% of the world involved in crypto does. All right, as promised, I'm going to give you guys some crypto alpha. I kind of threw some of it in there already. Once again, when we do see Saga, could give us a decent return and also allow us to receive crazy airdrops out of nowhere just for staking the token. And then Monad, one of those big layer ones that we're really excited about, by staking your Pyth token right here. Okay, word around the street is there could be a Monad airdrop to your wallet just for staking Pyth. Okay, once again, not guaranteed, not financial advice, but these are some cool things that have been shared with me with my network that I want to bring to you guys. Okay, if you're not there already, I have a whole bull market strategy. On our Discord, we do daily bias that we can use for our regular trading. All right, we've also been killing it sharing short-term trade ideas with you guys. So this is all free to join, guys. So get involved, get started in the Discord. Okay, if you're still here, go ahead and write in the comments the most helpful thing that I said in this video. Okay, I do read all of these comments. I'm going to be picking one person to win access to our entire suite of trading education and private access to our Discord community, where we do trading mentorships, give access to crazy cool trading tools that allow us to pull profits out of the market each day. So I'll be picking one person who writes a thoughtful comment for that. If you're still here, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notifications so you know when I put videos out. Okay, I'll have the portfolio resource sheet and the RCAM links in the description for you guys. But until next time, I will see you all in the next video.